Right, welcome back to the Delboy Garage. Now this is Project Triumph Exhaust Heat Shields Upgrade. There's a good title. Part 2. So without further ado, I'm going to crack on, show what we're up to. Stick around, stay tuned. Right, there's a little bit of measuring's got to go on. Obviously where you're going to put the holes in these so they look best. I don't want to look in amateur or bodged or crap, so it's a little bit of thought going in. The mount, I've put the bolts back in, so if you just mount that, or just hold it in its place, there you are, that's in situ on the bolt, so that's where that goes, and that shield tails towards the back, so there, with its splendid rivets that hold it on, and that goes slightly over the top. So obviously the line of holes, there's not a lot of point in drilling any holes in this back piece because it's just going to be covered up. Might put some in the tail end just to pick it up, but mostly the holes are going to be in this, so that when it's on, that will then pick up, you'll see them nice and clearly, and then I can pick the holes up as we come forward through this top one. So it's a case of measure them out, mark everything in place. And it's the same for the bottom one. When I've got the bottom one on, it'll be holes along it, and I just want to pick them up along this shield as it goes along, so it looks as if they're one set of shields all bolted together. So that's the task. First of all is mark the first one in place, get the marks on it, and then do the second one so they're all marked in conjunction with each other. It's very much the same if you're putting pin lines on a body fairing, if you're putting a fairing on a sports bike and you're trying up the lines, get all the differences in colour correct and the pin lines correct. You've got to do it on the bike, you've got to mount it on so the lines follow exactly. There's no trying to point in doing it on the bench because it just won't line up when you put it on the bike. So there we are. Let's mark them out. I will scratch them just now. Roughly correct. Now all I've got to do is find the middle, because it's the easiest way is to just put them in the middle. And the easiest way to find the middle, or to draw a line down the middle, an absolutely straight line, is pin tape. Like that, because you can stretch it from one end to the other and then stick it down and then draw against it. Or you can just centre punch through it, whatever works for you. There we go. Right, here we are. So I just need roughly to find the middle. And like anything, just look along it. Look along its length and you'll see the middle. It will be obvious. Line it up. And just touch it down gently to check it both ways. Now the time taken to get it straight, get it square, right in the middle, will pay off when the holes are drilled, because you can't undrill them. Right. Right, what I'm using for this, I'm not going to use a drill bit, because drilling holes in sheet metal is a funny old thing. If you've ever tried to do it, you end up with a drill bit, especially a large hole like a 10mm or bigger, like I'm going to go. You end up with a triangle shaped hole, and that's because a regular drill bit is kind of three-sided, and it gets a little bit, a big drill bit just won't cut it, as they say. So what I'm using is these, which are conical hole cutters, specifically designed for cutting holes in sheet metal. And I've used a stepped one because then I can pick exactly the size and get each hole the same size all the way along the job, and do a good job, hopefully. Now obviously proper preparation and all that, just checking where the stuff is underneath. Whenever you drill a hole in anything, a wall in your house, the ground, whatever, you've got to make sure you're not drilling through to anything that is going to then cause a problem. So I can't drill anything there or there, and then whatever the pattern of cut holes is, it can't include anything there or anything there. So what it looks like is I've got to come either side of that. Probably actually less is more, and well, whatever it is what I've got. So because of that bracket I can't drill anywhere there, which only kind of leaves the room for one hole. And if we're going to take that hole out to that sort of width, there's just room for one, which means that in the middle of that space is where it needs to be. So that's dictated already. That's the first centre punch mark there. Coming out at 16, 14, 16 mil. Yeah, it just needs to be in the middle. That's cool. The hole I'm going to drill can only come to there. It can't come any further that way because I'll start taking out this bracket, which I can't then stick the gauze on the inside because the bracket will be in the way. So that is as far as I can come. I want a little bit more room, so I reckon that much for gauze. And I reckon if it's a 16 mil hole, half of that is 8. If that's the edge, start on the edge, come in 8. That's about there. That one and that one. So straight away, that's the first two holes, and obviously that's 74, 75 mil apart. So all I can do is put the next one 75, which is there. So not so many holes as I hoped, but I might put some small ones in between, I don't know. We shall see. I'm going to get this all marked out and we shall see what it looks like. Right, and that's 4 mil. Pop it out a bit bigger. Once you're through it, once you go through, it pops through dead easy. And what you can kind of see, you don't have to put any weight on these hole cutters. As soon as you're through, literally spin it up a little bit quicker and just let the weight of the bit, and it just drops through with the weight of the drill, which is pretty cool. They're pretty controllable. So just go out a little bit at a time, and I'm pulsing the drill because I get this asked every time. I'm pulsing the drill so I don't overheat the drill bit and speed it up too much. I haven't got a slow start drill. A little cordless would probably do the job, but I've got this one. And that's what I and what? That's it. I mean, they're rated at 800 RPM, which is all the drill does anyway, so they'll be fine, but this is stainless, it's really hard, I just don't want to burn anything. Right, so they're roughly accurate, they're as straight as they need to be. All I need to do now is change the bit. Put the fatter one in, and we'll pop those out to a respectable size. Right. Right, 4 16 mil holes later, let's deburr it. Right, I can work on the finish later on, but there we are, first 4 holes. Right, so fitting that in situ actually looks better. You initially think I'm just going to bung holes all the way along, but I think less is more. That's all you need. Right, just having a little a little think about this and a little muse as I'm going. I kind of design things as I go along, because that way I think they work better. And that whole process of putting loads of holes along them, I think it's possibly the wrong move. That's good. That go there. And I think that works because you've got just 4. You've got another heat shield underneath. I'll get them later. I think we just need 4 corresponding underneath, so it picks up, or perhaps an inch further forward, so you get a bit of a slant to them. And on that front piece there, perhaps just 3 across it, top and bottom, rather than going for loads. And that 16mm size seems to be about right. Go any bigger and I think you'll start coming outside the width of it. It's 35mm tall, so 16, 16, 16, that's about right. It's not quite, no it's not. Anyway, don't know. Just thinking about it as I go along. Works out about 10 more holes to drill, or as long as the bits last out, because this stuff is so hard. It's already started to burn the bits. Cutting stainless, working with stainless period is always different. So let's get the other ones done. Right, got the centre, and now 75. Which just gives the same bond as the other shield. And again, I'm not even going to look at the other shield. I'll do this one and then I'll hold it back up again to the bike and see what it looks like with just this one and that little one done. Because as I said before, once you drill the hole, that's it, you can't undrill it. Just poking that underneath so that I don't end up actually denting the thing. Just give it a solid base. Press it on, and as with all centre punches, one good strike, not tap tap tap, because it will jump and then you'll end up with lots of little centre punches, and the drill can make a nice choice of which one it goes through. So whenever you centre punch anything, just back the metal. If it's sheet metal, just back it with something solid so it doesn't make a nice divot in it, a big dent, because all you'll do is dent it and that will be horrid. Right, I've decided I'm going to pilot these with a 4mm drill bit, purely to help the big cutters have to do a bit less work. Right, that's piloted all 6 holes, which will give the hole cutter an easier time. Right, 16mm. You seem to like going bigger than 10mm. I guess that's when you switch up to the bigger cutter. Right, I've gone with just 6 holes in that for now and 4 in that. I'm just not sure, I can't make my mind up about drilling that bottom shield. I don't know whether if they're left just in matte black and then those two have the holes in and the gold mesh behind, I don't know whether that might look better. And it's easier to make the decision to wait and make the decision later than it is to drill them now and find they look a bit cheap. Let's have a look, see what they look like in situ. So working on the basis that you can always drill it later. But you can't undrill it, as it were. So in there. This is fun. Right. There. I think that would be enough. I really do. Possibly a few in the bottom one, I'm not sure. But I'm going to think on it for a bit. Going to ponder that one. But there we are. Sum total of tonight's fun, 10 holes, but neat, smooth, perfectly round. And I've tapered, you can see on there. I've put 14 in the bottom, in the middles, and 12mm holes in the ends, just to kind of follow the taper of the item, so it follows the shape a little bit, doesn't look too raggedy. Just takes on a better look. Right, so that's it. It's eating time for tonight, that's what it always does. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours to drill 10 holes. That is how projects go, folks. There's nothing you can do about it, but I'd rather do it that way than rush it and then regret it and have to go on eBay and find some more heat shields to buy. I've got to deburr the back of them, obviously, because sticking the mesh on the back, the burrs will get in the way, so there's a method. I'm just going to use a deburring tool for that, funny enough. But the grinding on the front, just important to take those little burrs off. Where are you? Just so that the hole is neatly chopped and doesn't look as if it looks as if it's been stamped in, pretty much like these, and it's nice and neat and round. If you try and drill, like I said, that size with a drill bit, you get a triangle, you don't get a hole. So it's important to use the old cone drills. There we are, that was it. That's number 2 of Heat Shields project. Thanks for all your support, much appreciated. I haven't had time this week to get in the garage, but I'm going to do the best I can, and as soon as we get this thing back on the road, then it's going up to 3x4 remap, and that should be it for the exhaust, hopefully. Still got some stuff to do on the handlebars, and then there's the rear suspension to get involved in later on, so there's a little bit more on the project. It's going to take us well into the spring before this thing is completely ready and how I want it, and then it'll be on the road, and then we're back to other things. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and what's in Delboy's Garage, as always. Appreciate the support, keep comments coming, love it. Talk to you soon. Ride safe. See you next time.